All right, let's do something a little different today. We're going to peel back the pavement, look past the walls, and explore a hidden world that keeps our cities running. And we're going to see it all through a really fascinating case study, looking at the challenges and solutions found right in Detroit.
So let me start with a question for you. What do you think is the oldest piece of technology you use every single day without fail? Go ahead, think about it. I bet it's not what first comes to mind.
The answer for most of us is probably the network of pipes, the ones hidden inside your walls and buried deep under your feet. It's this incredible, invisible infrastructure that's a total cornerstone of modern life. And today, we're going to drag it out into the light.
So first, let's explore this idea, this massive hidden city that exists right beneath our feet.
You know, every single city has this secret history, right? It's like a circulatory system, but it's written in thousands of miles of pipes. They're constantly, silently carrying fresh water in and taking wastewater out. It's a process we completely take for granted, well, until it stops working.
And that brings us right to our case study, what's happening in Detroit. It's a kind of plumbing perfect storm, where that secret underground history is crashing into the present day in some really dramatic ways. And, this quote from our source material just hits the nail on the head. Detroit's plumbing challenges stem from a perfect storm of harsh winters, aging housing stock, and infrastructure legacy. Let's break down exactly what that means.
So first up is that aging housing stock. I mean, in a lot of Detroit's historic neighborhoods, the average age of a home is over 70 years old. Now think about that. That means the plumbing inside those walls is just as old, and sometimes it's even older. So it really boils down to these three key factors hitting all at once. You've got the harsh winters with their constant freezing and thawing that just punish the pipes. You have that aging housing stock we just mentioned, with original plumbing from like the 1920s still trying to do its job. And then there's this infrastructure legacy, a messy, layered system of different materials from different eras that creates this incredibly complex and fragile network. Okay, so this perfect storm has basically created some really powerful enemies of the system. Let's meet the villains of our story. Enemy number one, it's the very materials of the past. The pipes, the drains, the fittings that were used to build this original network, well, they're all reaching the end of their lifespan, pretty much at the exact same time. We're talking about some serious relics under pressure here. You've got cast iron drains that, after 100 years of use, literally just rust all the way through. Then there's the galvanized steel pipes, super common before 1960. They corrode from the inside out, building up scale and slowly choking off your water flow. And those clay sewer lines under the lawn? Yeah, they get brittle and just crack as the ground settles over the decades. I mean, the evolution of the technology here is just stark. 100 years ago, plumbers were wrestling with this heavy, rigid galvanized steel that was destined to corrode and clog up. Today, we're using materials like PEX, which is this amazing, flexible plastic tubing, and copper. They're lightweight, they resist corrosion, and they keep the water flowing for decades. It is truly a night and day difference. All right, on to enemy number two, the punishing climate. Detroit's winters are absolutely no joke, and they are waging a constant, brutal war on the city's plumbing. So here is how the freeze-thaw cycle does its dirty work. The water inside a pipe freezes solid, and when it does, it expands. This expansion has incredible force. We're talking enough to split copper lines wide open or fracture thick steel pipes. But here's the worst part. You often don't even know it's happened. The break is held together by the ice until things thaw out, and that's when a torrent of water starts flooding your basement. And finally, we have a surprise villain. Enemy number three is the urban forest. Believe it or not, the beautiful, mature trees that line Detroit's streets are actually a major threat to the whole system. It's like this silent invasion happening right under your feet. Tree roots are hardwired to seek out water, and they're naturally drawn to the little puffs of water vapor that escape from tiny cracks in old pipes. So they work their way inside those old clay sewer lines, and once they're in, it's like an all-you-can-eat buffet. They grow into these dense, fibrous masses, creating solid blockages that cause, well, some really nasty sewer backups. So we've laid out all the problems, right? But how in the world do you fight them? Well, let's look at the modern approach. Diagnose, repair, and verify. And this really is the central challenge, isn't it? How do you fight an enemy you can't even see, one that's buried 10 feet underground or hidden behind a century of plaster and lathe? You fight it with technology. The modern toolkit is just incredible.
Instead of just guessing, plumbers can now send a tiny camera right down the line to see the exact problem. Instead of a simple snake that just pokes a hole, they use hydrojetting, high-pressure water that scours a pipe clean. And get this, instead of digging up your entire yard, they now have trenchless repair techniques that can fix pipes from the inside out. It's almost surgical.
All this amazing tech fits into a really clear, transparent service process. First, they diagnose the problem and give you an estimate. Step 2, they execute the repair. And step 3, and this part is absolutely key, they test and verify that the fix actually worked. No more guesswork. It's all about proof.
So, after all that, what does this mean for the future of this hidden network? Not just in Detroit, but everywhere.
Well, Detroit's story is this really vivid reminder of a universal truth. Our modern cities are all built on these fragile, aging systems that we almost never think about. They are completely out of sight and out of mind, right up until the moment they fail.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. The pipes under your own feet have a story to tell, a story about your city's history, its challenges, and its future. So the question is, what story is your city's hidden network telling?